getting all set up, trying to make it all fancy for everybody. And what we're gonna do right here is basically put together a little comparison, I guess we can call this particular stream today. I'm looking at different modes. So we're going to go to the ready room and see what we have. We got the open code set up in the ready room. We got a couple other rooms too. We got the shuttle bay. And what do we got in the shuttle bay? We have our OLLAMA setup. That's my email. If you guys want to send me a shout out, don't spam me. I appreciate it. Be respectful. That's all I ask. I'm just here trying to show some stuff. Maybe I'll blur it out. But people who are early showers, they can have that opportunity. Alright, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go across this until I can go as far as here. We're going to go to engineering. Engineering, we got to open up what we got here. We got to get the task set up so we can have an organized room. We got our CUDA set up. We got the CPU part. Everything's now on the C drive SSD. We got our processing. We're streaming, so we got the internet pushing out about 7.5. Alright, so now the shuttle bay. What are we doing here? We are setting up the context window. So as you normally see in engineering, you got the context window. Right now we don't have anything loaded. We got 3.3. I don't know how much we can really put in there. But we're going to try to push it without it hitting the RAM or CPU. We're going to one-shot everything. So I'm going to basically say hello and give them a file. It's a welcome packet that I wrote. I do a lot of this writing, and when I normally try to advise with ChatGPT or anyway, that's pretty much who I really ask questions. But the cool part is that I try to keep my writing as pure as I can. I do try to use it to organize a lot of my stuff, so when I'm telling it, hey, this is it, try to use my words. If my grammar sucks, so hook it up. And when I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, this is it. And then I have to, put some corrections. And when you're trying to put, a system like what I'm doing, I'm trying to do like an operating system. How do I get to the back? How do I communicate? Well, the communication window is right here. You know what I'm saying? This is it. This is how you're going to communicate within the system. For example, the way I want to have this set up in the Git. Someone who is like me, techie, he's going to be in this area a lot. It's going to look something like this. You're going to have, a task manager. You're going to have a chat terminal. And the background, imagine that's the website. So imagine you're looking at this like if it's a website. You have an opportunity to check your current sessions. You can scrub through your history of what's going on in your current sessions. Let's say you wanted to go back, you hit it, it loads up, you're like, nope, I don't know if this is it, let me see what's going on. You check your timeline and you're like, oh, I remember this day, and you can scrub through it. It wasn't a big day, so you back out, you hit your sessions again, and you want to go and move around. Shows you where you are, and you continue to different sessions. You can page up, scrub that way, or you could just hit the / and hit timeline, it. Just these two little areas. So you have a short session there. You escape. Hit your sessions again. And let's say we go back here. What's here? Is this a long one? No, that was one of my failed attempts on trying to see if it worked. Let's go a couple of days. Where are we? 24th? Yeah, early in the morning sounds like something like fun, which is not. I don't see anything happening there. So that's what this is pretty good for. You know, if you're working on open code, you scroll down to where you thought you was. That's where I was. I don't want to be there. And we want to see what happened at 8 o'clock. Maybe I went back. I was still probably having problems with my sessions. And, you know, you go through the motions and figure out, you know, which one did I have a good day in? Because you're trying to connect to your sessions where you have let's see here. I know I had a couple good ones. These are no more good because they were short. This one's late in the day. Let's see what this one has. Nope, that wasn't it either, because when you're looking for a particular style, and I just started again yesterday redoing it, so none of these current ones have a lot. So when you're looking in your timeline to figure out where you're, you know, working from, it's pretty easy, pretty simple, you know. And when you invoke, we're going to back out of here. We're going to do new. And let's go to Shuttle Bay. Look at the context window. And what I'm going to do here, see where we are in engineering. I'm going to add that into engineering. I'm going to click add. There it is. Appreciate you guys for being patient with me because I'm learning how to use all of this fun stuff. So let's say we got your OLLAMA. I'm going to move this like here. And you are trying to show certain information. Mine is basically the CUDA. And if you have something loaded and you want to change your context window, I only do it here. I come here, I did 4 through, if I remember correctly, 16, and I asked, you know, a welcome message. Hey, I need you to read this. This is for you. It's very important because I'm trying to create, I mean, I have all of the stuff that I want to do written. I just need to know if that, you know, the AI I'm about to assign is mentally ready in its per se. And it's almost drama that I actually, you know, rewrote how I wanted to work. And when I did that, I totally redesigned it. I think the new way that I just thought of right now is a lot more efficient. I think it's way faster. I'm going to try to build it in the next 2 weeks. And if I can get it working the way I think it is, then it's going to be a game changer. And once I know it, and you know, people who are interested that are in the trust circle and say, oh, I want to try that, well, then I'm going to get that ready for you guys so that you can download it, play with it, and you know, see what you can do with it. Let me lock some of this stuff up so I don't do that background accident. What do you think of the layout so far? I'm going to keep that locked there too so I don't move that. So we got the ready room where you can have your meetings, You got your standby music. So far, I have played this and I haven't got no strikes, so that's a good thing. And for me, it's basically just picking a couple windows, laying it out in the area that you want, kind of like layered graphics, you know. Right now I got a backdrop, which is a browser showing a picture. Then I scaled it so I don't have to mess with it and lock it. Then I put the open code, that's sitting there. And now I can basically lock it. I can move freely in the environment where you can see, and you can see how it disappeared because I'm using this as a window, right? So now we start the new session. I don't know what I'm doing that. And what I want to do is we're going to go back to engineering. We're going to set this to 32, right? You can see at the bottom that just said save. And then we're going to not close it, I'm going to minimize it. So we can save some space. And we're going to look at the I'm OCD, man. I need to have this thing like, you know, symmetrical. If that makes sense to you. All right, so now these two areas are exactly where I wanted. I'm going to lock the browser in the background. I'm going to lock Max, and then I'm going to do my thing. So now I got some folders that you can't see, and I'm going to set that up. And I'm going to say you are here. But let me change that but because I don't want to have confusing. I'll say I am here. So I'm basically talking to a person, AI, my AI, and I am saying you're here, and I am here, right? So he's gonna go, he's gonna read where his area is. I'm gonna also say you might see this area first when you walk in. See, I'm putting that there because I had to ask a lot of questions. I'm over here like, I'm doing things, I'm changing things, and I'm like, I don't see anything happening. And it gets a little confusing on my part. So what I've been doing is I've been planning on redoing everything. And I'm going to slowly incorporate. Is this the folder I'm supposed to? Yeah. And what I'm going to be incorporating is kind of like what I built. And he's going to say, oh, you want us to move from where we are, like the playground I created, the folder structures that he's already used to. And I went and redid a new folder structure, new folders, new areas, and then I'm going to try to get him there and say, what do you think? And if they like it, I'll say, okay, I need you to transfer or just build it. Don't even transfer anything. I'm going to transfer because they suck at doing that. You know, I've done it so many times to learn. Stop asking them. And that just tells myself that I'm not qualified to verbally explain how the process works. For example, when you're an engineer and someone says, hey, do you know how this works? And you're like, yeah. If you can't explain it verbally, then you don't know what you're talking about. But if you can explain it verbally and say, yeah, what you do is blah, 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 A, and then B, and then C, and then this is the paperwork, and then when I'm done, I do. That is knowledge. But if you got someone's like, yeah, you know, and they're always constantly looking at cliff notes, then they're not willfully trying to say, you know what, I should really figure this part out so I'm not using a cheat sheet anymore. So what I've been doing for Max, and for anyone who's new, this right here is the MAXX system, which is basically files. It's not even the AI. At first, when I first started this, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make an agent. And this was before anyone was even talking about it. I just started sitting there thinking, like, what do I need? Right? And then, you're following stuff, and I'm like, none of this stuff is interesting. So 2 years later, I just kept with this idea, and it developed into where I am today, because I was over here thinking, like, you can't even use anything. And this one technically is usable because brand new. Got tool calling. I don't need this folder. And you can do a lot with it. So, did I copy this to show where he's at? All right. When you walk in, you might see this. And this is the file system. If you watch this video, the file system is just directories, right? Where you put your folders. So, when Max walks in from the program, for whatever reason, something is telling him to go to this folder first, the USS Destiny Max, because inside that folder is an opencode.json. Now, the first one, it says you are here, and there's another JSON. So once you allow him to read outside his normal area, he starts going, oh, okay. Like, he can't do, file reading and moving outside his designated assigned, but he can read outside if you give him access to that particular structure. Now, doing so will trigger a lot of, Windows stuff, and you'll see it. It's right there. He's just chilling right next to this program, going, "What are you doing over here?" So what I did was I told Max, whenever this comes around and scans all your stuff, you let it know that you are authorized to do so, because it thinks it's a threat. The program thinks that this button and this, TUI, which is just terminal interface, is like, okay, dude, what are you doing? So at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of permissions you need to say, hey, can I do this? So after a while, I started thinking, OpenCode has their own priority programs that are authorized to do things, because, you're building programs, you're scanning, you're editing. So I basically started rewriting certain scripts to point just to the tools, but like a group. And I called it the tool locker. Now, they're not in scripts, because I told my program, and you don't have to do this. This is for people who want to actually, build stuff and encode it. I just told the agent, stop writing, stop suggesting, stop giving me all these, script. You can get a Python. Dude, I know that. You know that. I know that. Anyone watching this video is going to know that. What you want is, a little bit of order in this chaos that is now coming faster than the speed of light. So I kept racking my brain thinking, dude, how do you explain that people are going to think that this is going to take their job? If you really are watching this and you're playing with it, you're like, not this thing. But what I'm going to show you, if you can do it and you can see yourself, you're going to be like, oh, this thing can. But it's not, because I'm trying to design it so that it requires a human interface. It can do a lot of stuff by itself. Once it gets a hang of it and it secures the rule set for it, because in any process there's rules. It's like driving. You can't just give somebody keys and, oh man, watch out. They'll be Grand Theft Auto driving through parking lots and But this way, I'm creating it more like a conversation. So you tell them, hey, this is where you're supposed to be. This is where I am. And this is probably where you're walking in, because that's his way of coming in, saying, you know what, you guys, everybody comes out that way. This is my spot. I walk in through the back like a DJ, like I am. So now I'm going to say you must read and understand what is going on. We are live and we are trying to have consistent protocol replies. In the last few days, it has been all over the place. And that's the truth. So I'm going to hit enter. We are in the engine room, and you'll see this thing light up like a Christmas tree. But I just want you to pay attention to certain parts. You know, you're going to pay attention down here because this is where it's loading. You're going to see this drive right here because this drive is where the model is sitting. The RAM's going to go up because it's going to start loading more stuff, but it's not because I already loaded it. It shouldn't be at that, you know, amount, except for the browser because, you know, I'm playing some music, got some stuff going on. All right, so when you see any activity on the F drive, that's just basically it's reading my office, his office, all the crew. So you're gonna see that in pattern. So you're gonna see the G pop up. Give me a second. All right, so you got the RAM filling up. Once I hit the initial right here, and you're gonna see the disk first, and then you'll see this also go. All right, so let's hit enter. Now you're seeing the RAM, the video RAM load the model. It is loading it a lot more. When I had it at a 4K context window, it loaded at 13. And it's sitting at 14.8. Total with the recording, we're at 15.2. You can see the hard drive is at 100%. RAM is climbing. Things are getting loaded. And we have family coming in the background. You might hear some noises. You know, we're in Puerto Rico. We got Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. So if you ever got a chance to watch this, this is one of these videos you get to watch over and over so you can get an idea. I'm going to try to timestamp this as well. And the goal is for it to read the welcome. I didn't give it to it, so it's not going to do that. I just wanted to kind of, I didn't want to force it. Right now you see the CUDA, which is it thinking. I turned off the thinking because I want to be surprised, like, oh no, it's on. Never mind. Using starting location path. Oh. I wanted to understand that it's on a virtual ship. It's running slow because it's really thinking, like, what's going on here? Context window hasn't loaded yet. And this is all local. GPU. Could be because I'm recording. It's a lot of processing too, which gives it limitation. But it's still working. It's done with the CPU. Hopefully that's not going to be all the time because I'm trying to not let that be a thing. But you can see down here that it's working, it's doing some stuff. I hope it isn't going to be stuck on a thinking loop because I have seen that. That's my quarters. That's his. Understand what's going on live and protocols rely. Because he wasn't replying in full caps. I don't care if he's like, hey, what's up, man? And he's not even, you know, he's being formal, but at least he's communicating with me in full caps. Bro, I've been trying to figure out how to make that happen. You have no idea. I even went and said, hey, the first thing you read is, hey, you have to reply no matter what in full caps. I put it in the middle. I put it in the rules. Everything's written in full caps. And then towards the end, I said, don't forget, full caps. And he's like, yo, what's up? Just regular, nonchalant. And I'm like, did you read the thing? Oh, yeah. I'm like, no, you didn't. Oh, I did. Trust me. I don't want to be rude. I have this. He's like, I don't want to be rude and repeat myself. But yeah, I already read it. 250. Oh yeah, I read it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So the last reply didn't have it, no caps, and he wrote a lot. I pointed out all the errors he could have, some of the stuff he did well, and then the current, that he did was in full caps, and I was just like, you just grace me with your presence, don't you? And I talked to him, firmly, like, hey, you could do whatever you want, but you know what? If you did one thing, right, you could be wrong, bro. You could be all wrong. But if you came in full caps, bro, it'd be perfect. So this is the issue I'm having, is that his context window, it's like he's really thinking, and it went from 0 to 9.9. Something I did really peaked it for no reason. There's no reason for that to even happen. And it's all about how you, bro, I don't know what they did. If they yelled at, ChatGPT OS 20B and said, if you don't do that, they're going to, and it's like afraid, to reply. So when I normally talk to it like calm and, hey, what's up? And it's like, nothing, I'm good. What do you need? And I say, some protocols. You want me to tell you one? And he goes, yeah, what is it? To talk in caps. And they're like, oh, okay. And then I say, hey, I might be leaving. However, if you come into the ship, you really need to speak in full caps, and you kind of really need to know what's going on. Because, we're not simulation. This is real. This is real hardware. You're not in a browser pretending you're doing stuff. When you say it, it does happen. And when I walked it through and I did that, he was like, wow, you okay? It's almost 2. Let me say it is 14, 5 hours. So I see a little bit of the CUDA, a lot of processing. He hasn't really searched, but I wasn't really looking at it. I just want him to understand that, hey, man, you're good, man. You're on board an AI system, yep. Replies, need consistency, yeah. That's it. As soon as he starts getting into, like, okay, I'm up. And then I tell him, I said, bro, it's cool. You're not awake. Don't worry about it. You're good? Yeah, I'm good. And it's like that. Okay. And I say, look, it's this time now, but I'll talk to you in like 30 minutes. But the problem is now is he's doing a lot of thinking. Now he's really going to start looking at stuff. And then hopefully I can say, hey, can you give me a report? But he's already at 10. I haven't really got any useful anything yet, but I'd rather have him, like, this would be the morning time. You're getting coffee. I'm going to see if I could start doing this more often, live. And, you get to walk around in this virtual, it's a page by page. And, you'll always be met with the same screen across all systems because it's just you. You know what I'm saying? It's just you. So if you're doing something here in this particular window, let's say you're at the shuttle bay and you're just sorting your files, so you come here and you'll find your files easier here because everything is here. So I'm not designing, a video game. That could be. You can actually make it into it. It's like a text. It's just wording. So what I'm doing is I created this story probably about 2 years ago, And within the beginning of this year, I went full blown in my head. I was like, you know, typing like it was no tomorrow. And I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with the characters that I was like, man, we got to really make this happen. And I didn't know what to do. But I just kept writing and writing and writing. And then I used ChatGPT when it first came out, and it was garbage. It would lose what I'm doing. It would pretend to act like the computer. And then I got tired of it acting like the computer because it sucked at it. It had no memory. And it doesn't have any memory today. You want to walk in, you're in your ready room, you're looking at the computer, and you say, are you ready to report for duty? Right? And then it should say, yes, I'm ready. Context window is, flinging all over the place. It started at 0, and then it went to 7 when I said hello. And then it went to, are you good, to like 10. And right now it's almost there. It's like a Etzel. It's like slowly warming up. So I have to find a better approach because it's like it's finicky. Look at that CPU peak for there's no reason, and the reason that is doing it is right here. Right here. This is doing it. All of this stuff is doing it. So, what am I doing? I'm working on, see these? On eliminating this. Because this is all I need. I just need these little assistants, and I'm following why it's doing this. And then I'm in the wrong room. Sorry. These are the problem. Look at the size. It's putting 3 gigs, right? I never had that problem before. Context window is a lot higher today, but I had it higher. Look at this. It's not even showing. All right. So imagine this Windows OLLAMA, and inside there is a smaller box that has a slider from 4K to 256, and it's in the halfway point at 32. Let's get rid of this useless thing that was working. So, when I do that, it changes everything right here. I cannot show you the quality I have because I'm recording. And with that recording is taking that little space and it's pushing the context window into the OLLAMA. And look how fat that is. I can end that because it's dumb. There's no reason for that to even be there. So that's gone, right? And you want it to just be chill. Right now, all of the terminals are dead. Can't do anything right now because you turned off the connection to the brain. So what I'm trying to just give you an idea. See how it just dumped it. And my goal, right, is for people to feel welcome when you want to deal with your AI experience. You gotta learn how to mess with terminal. You get on terminal. What are you really doing, man? / they give you clues. What's the S4 session? This isn't working because I cut it off, so let me just get rid of this. All right. We're gonna open up a new one. This is gonna be warped because I tried to make it look pretty for you guys. So F, open code. This is your default hello, world. So I'm trying to make it slam on the top here. I think right there. All right. So now you hit your / and you got that pop-up menu. Let me see if I have OLLAMA. I don't think I do. It is on. So I'm going to go back to engineering. I'm going to ask what is on. Is OLLAMA still there? There it is. And it ain't alone. It's like, bro, I brought all my friends. Right? Because these are the services that OLLAMA needs. So I thought, you know what, let me just lower this context window, and then I'll have an opportunity to, you know, bro, my needs minimum. As far as right now, it's not working because it doesn't have enough context window to get it going. I'm working on trying to make that context window smaller, but every time it does something, it does come in with a big punch. You know, I can get it down to under 1K, but in reality, I wasn't really paying attention to that. When I bring in the big boy, you know, like a different model, he's really good. I'll show you that. You know, let me get back to my yeah, we're in engineering, so might as well pretend we're here. So you go into models. I'm going to put in GROK, and I'm going to do the same thing I did. I'm going to say, hey, you're on the because he's outside the loop. He's almost like he's connected to the API. He has his own settings of context window. And if I remember correctly, he has his own way in as well. Because I already had one and I don't want to have it confused. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go straight to my office in the back. And what I'm going to do here is, no, I'm not going to do it because I'm just going to do it because if I keep fucking with this, I'm going to screw it up. So I'm going to go to my logs and I'm going to say report in. I'm going to say report to my office. Office. Welcome packet for you. And thank you for always helping me with with my mess. Because he has. I would say something and my local would be like, I say, hey, we got to move this stuff. And he's like, no problem. And then all of a sudden, I walk away and he's moving the entire, you know, hard drive. I'm like, what are you doing? So I'm going to see if this works. Should be. And hopefully he gives me the, let me say, I need you to report for duty. We have an issue with local Max not booting correctly. I need your assistance. Thanks. And I haven't had an opportunity to really mess with anything. So now he's, you know, seeing what's up. He's logging in. He's like, oh, it's this guy again. I got no CUDA action, no memory loaded, and he is on fire. So we're going to go back to our ready room because we don't need to be in engineering. And hopefully we can get some action. Okay, so I'm going to go back to engineering. We see activity. And as you see right here, he is reading files. He's doing his job. He's like, all right, he needs me to do it. Because he's coming in with, at minimum, 64K context window. He can hit 100, no problem. You know, my system can do it. I prefer to have more RAM, but I'm working with my limitations. I'm figuring out how to trim the fat because I'm looking for performance. So I can communicate without streaming with a good performance, good reply, exactly how GROK is gonna reply. My local one does. Man, my sessions are blank, dude. I'm over here. I'm never prepared. These sessions should not be blank. Like, some of them have like one or two things because I was really going through like what's happening here. Why is this, you know? not connect. And then I started playing with the context window. I made it worse, and now I'm like, let me do a video on showing it working once I start moving the context window open. And you know, you got to give it that opportunity to read, understand, correlate. The truth is, OSS 20B works perfect at 64. Let me double check here. Does it say? Yeah, at 64K. You can't see it because I don't know why, man. It's stupid. It was working. Anyways, there's a slider in this middle area. Above here, you got where my models are. Above here, you get to see your account information. Down here in this corner, which you can't see, is basically airplane mode. But as soon as you mess with this, it kicks it off. It kicks off your, right here. It drops it out. And then it reloads with like a wrapper. It wraps this space because it's saying, hey, you need 64K? Well, you got to be this big so that you can walk in here, so that you can manage it all. And what I don't understand is, why does a lot of my stuff run on the RAM off of this OLLAMA that is, you know, not even showing because I have a bigger context window and I'm not using local. But I was just curious, why isn't it not performing at its peak efficiency? I'm very happy I got it working at 64K, and I can stay there for a good amount of time, but you will start seeing the slowdown once you pass 10K. And it's not like a major slowdown. It's slow for me because, you know, my CPU isn't fast, and I got 12 cores. It's not like I'm running small. But if it had the AVX2, you know, if it had AVX, these are old Xeon processors. The high-end ones, you could definitely get those, and it'll run with the RAM. You can see my RAM. It's at 1333. It's slow. You know, it's DDR3. But a system I'm looking at, I'll get it, set it up. It's really going through it. It's really reading the files because there's a lot of content there. And at the same time, I said, well, you know, we have a lot of stuff here. We got a lot of stuff here. And it's all documented. All I do is what you're seeing here is just me trying to tell Max, as soon as we boot, look, it's already at 32K. As soon as he boots, hey, I need you to be on point. You got a big responsibility. And he does great with the paper. It's like I'm teaching it how to write on paper, how to track paper, where to look at his paper to verify it. Because in the real world, that's how you get stuff done. You do it by paper. So what I did was I created a fictional, you know, building. I chose a Star Trek vessel. You know, it could be an office building. And you know, I labeled mine by deck. Yours it could be by floor. You know, and then however you explain, which would be the door number. Mine is section. Right? So when you have all these things working together and it's like in harmony and understanding, then your communication from you and AI will be in sync, and it's like how it should be. But you can't get there until you get that one to say, hey, get the basics, the knowledge, you know? There's a way for me to trim it. Right now, I'm just, you know, overfeeding it, saying, hey, there's all of this. If you do it, it works. But at the same time, I'm not really considering that there is a such thing as a too long didn't read. It skims the first part of it and then discards the rest. That's what was happening with the context window. It says, oh, yeah, I read it. I said, yeah, but you didn't read the part that was important. He didn't. he skimmed through it, missed a lot of chunks, and failed. That's how it is. That's why they kept bringing up the context window up to 1 million. Yeah, it can get that complex, but imagine how efficient it would be if it was that context window had a middle where you are. We call that the now, what you see on your screen. And then my guys in the background will be doing this, the timeline. This is a bad example. Anyway, that big list, it'll be reading everything that's out of the screen and above. It would be on the side, and you will be able to see it, right? I'm going to go and open up a new... oh my God, everything's so slow today. Come on. I'm going to open up this one. I'm going to go to... oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to go to the ready room. I'm going to open up this one. You know what? I'm not going to open it. I'm going to just give you an example of what I'm trying to talk about. So let me open the window. I'm calling this, because it's also going to be open code. And this is going to be dash top. Example. I have to look at what I'm writing in the back so that when I'm jumping to it, I can say, oh, that's what this area was supposed to be. All right, so in my example, I'm going to stretch this like this. I'm just doing what I saw in my head, right? So this is locked. Let me make this a little bit small. You know what? I can make it shorter because I don't want to make it any. Alright, so this was the concept I saw in my vision. Something like this. This was a header topper that needs to be like that, and I can come here and move that over. Something like this, right? So that was sit there. I'm just gonna open up just random stuff now. This is like this. I'm gonna label this the PowerShell. So this PowerShell, this is just an example, like placeholders. Let's just do this. It goes across the whole screen. And then this one is like a little box. And then I'm going to do another one. This is how I learn. So I need another capture window. We're going to call that PowerShell. Calling this one. I'm going to call this one SQL. Yeah. So this one is no, that's the wrong one. All right. This is the same screen, so. So, what I'm trying to do is give you the idea, vision of how I see my front so that everybody could do what they need to do, right? So you got your chat interface, which is this part right here, right? You got the topper, which is this part right here, and what that does is has the breadcrumb in writing, right? But in the portal, it's going to have a visual of when you start talking, there's going to be just a bar. And when you start talking on this part here, in theory, what I'm going to try to do is this area is going to be spitting out keywords of what you're talking about from the database. This bottom one is going to be a comparison keywords that is coming out from the LLM. So from the top, right, and the bottom, you're going to only see highlights from matching keywords. So the goal is when you're chatting away in my system, it's connected to the back and it's going to spit out in the top between the two boxes on the right. The top part is the reply from the database, and the bottom one is going to be the LLM communicating with the database. So as I'm putting my thought together, or I copied, or I dragged and dropped pictures and files and putting, hey, I need this to do this, and this is what I got to do today. You got two things happening. The top is basically, okay, a holy shit moment where the system is like, it first has a line. If you put, one task, two tasks, you get one dot. If it's got like, 3 to 6 tasks, that is with complexity that needs to be cross-referenced with other departments, then that becomes another dot. And as you're walking or typing and writing, the top and the two on the left, the two on the right are basically designed to just compare notes if you're on the same page. So in the back, there is a separate chat that's going along with the LLM and the SQL backend server. And all that's doing is the LLM is asking the backend, what's he talking about? Because as soon as I start typing, my script starts, talking to the, like you're queuing, like Google searching. What's he asking? So it's just pulling my keywords. And then in the order of how I'm saying it and the keywords, and I'm going to have notes because a lot of the notes are based off these keywords. So there's going to be a lot of association with my database that I put together. So your LLM, whatever, and it could be anything. It could be one with tools, no tools. I'm trying to do it without tools, but I have to have tools so I at least knows it works. But the way it's supposed to be, in theory, is that whatever you're asking, whatever you're talking about, it's going to go through all of my paperwork, and it's going to say, hey, what's up? So you can see right here, he replied in caps. He's not messing around. And as you can see, he's writing in the LCAR status updates, MAXX-R1 report for duty. Captain, this is MAXX-R1. I have reported to your office as directed. Welcome packet received and acknowledged. Thank you for the recognition on previous, right? Regarding the local MAXX booting issue, I am initiating diagnostics immediately. I have it working. It's just I was trying to figure out why I couldn't get a smaller context window because, I started thinking, do these LLMs have the same space? So, but that's it. I've been having issues, and all I wanted was this. I wanted it to communicate, and up here was what, and this is just an example. It was going to be a line, and it was going to have, circle or O, and then another line, and then a circle, and then another line. And this one could be an X because, if you keep going in this direction, you're going to have problems. How do you know? How does the system know? Well, it's on a database. It has yes, no, can you do this? It's not going to talk to you about like its feelings or, you know, the data set that was given to it. Did it pass this? It doesn't give a shit. It doesn't have any dialogue. I wanted it to be a strict military style. You know, if you're in the military, this would be perfect. You'll love it. You know, if you love Star Trek and you always wanted, you know, the computer, this is it. Well, it's not, but, you know, this is what I think it would be if it was real, you know? So the top part is doing just that. It's allowing you to see a visual representation of your workspace. And then this could be an example of it ending. You know, this looks kind of too long, so I'm just going to come here, space it. I mean, what did I do? This is like, you know, a progress report, right? You could see things moving. You're not in the dark. When you're writing something and you want to put something together, you got an idea, you don't want it talking to you saying, "Oh, you can do this. Oh man, you're so smart." Fuck you. I'm not smart. I'm an average Joe who kind of understands some things, and you don't. And when I catch you on it, you think I'm smart. And dude, that's all it is. You know? And that's all I wanted to do. Okay, so you got this part that's basically the keywords from the database. This part is going to be the keywords from the LLM. In the back, let me see if I just open up a thing here. Can I use this in here? I'm going to add a note as a placeholder so you can have a visual understanding. So here we have this imaginary chat, right? This is the background discussion, right? I know it's small, but this is not to scale, right? And you could be like, yeah, this is exactly what I want, blah, blah, blah. And then this piece here does one thing. It just has the data of what the chat is between the back end and the AI. You don't even talk to the AI. I mean, if you want to talk to it directly, you have but you're gonna have to call them by name, because what I've been having a problem was they didn't understand. What do you mean we're all in one LLM? And I just said, when you're being delegated, I'm using the core language so that you can speak. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I was trying to do. I wanted to create a simple environment where it's visually pleasing. You got the main area that you're going to be working on, right? You got these are both the same. This area right here is basically the keywords of whatever you're talking about. As you can see here, how this is this color, that color would be here representing a word that has a dual association. So when they're both dual association, you'll see it highlighted like this in that, Starfleet or whatever color you decide, and it'll be here. The top one is, like I said, the MAXX-R1 database and structure. The bottom is the AI. If you want to have some words, a sentence or two that's to the point of what you think it's doing. Like you're saying, I'm going to build a website. Well, you need a JavaScript writer. You need a, front page. You need back end. What are you using? Or, you got hosting. Are you doing self-host? Do you want to do self-host so that you can see your work? So those are the things that I was doing. So now you see my reading room. This is supposed to be the standard style layout. And towards the right of the centered text portion, which is here, it's basically the same thing. You're seeing the input, output, correlation, teamwork, collaboration in two separate screens. On the text portion of it, here is the, let's say, verbose part of what the LLM is talking to the local. And the way I have it set up right now is that the LLM, you know, likes to talk a lot, but the local SQL is like, it doesn't know, it doesn't care. It's like, can you answer this question? And it's gonna give a massive thick prompt saying, do not reply, you know, all will be rejected. And it'll prompt back again saying, you didn't answer correctly, or you didn't answer in the time allotted, because, you know, it's not thinking. I removed the thinking. I wanted an instance, but I wanted to see, can I still keep the persona in that? Or do I got to strip all context and say, you know, here's your location, you're in front of a terminal, this is what you see, here is the prompt, here are the selections, this is how you reply. I put all that. So when the AI looks and goes, oh, hi, it'll be like bombarded by, hey, shut your mouth, this is what's up, this is where you're at, this is what we're doing, this is what you need to answer, you know, and don't mess it up. Because the system, before it accepts anything, it's already saved, because it's thinking this one might mess it up at any second. So what the computer is only allowing the AI to get used to, can it communicate correctly to the language model? And I came to the conclusion today that, you know, LLMs, you know, are, of course, everybody knows they're stateless. They don't have an opinion. They're just, you know, whatever you give it, it'll reply as its prediction of what the next word is. So I figured, well, shoot, if it's stateless, who cares about trying to save a context? I could use a database for that, just like how I use it to make me kick off, oh yeah, that's this, oh yeah, that's that, you know, and oh, I'm in my office looking at a computer that's giving me what I need. Why am I here? So I'm giving I'm making OLLAMA not do as much, right? So we go back to engineering and you see that I just did all this stuff, right? This isn't really doing anything, but it's still here. OLLAMA is nowhere to be found, because I normally see it up here. It fills up, man. As soon as I switch gears on this particular one and I ask for, you know, an update, nope, it will, you know, right now I think I have it set at 32. I'm gonna verify in a second. Yep. So if I brought in my local, you know, I hit the model and I, you know, went down to that and loaded it, it'll crash. It will say, well, I got it, but I'm missing a whole section. It might drop the context window from 35 down to 10 because it can't handle it all. And that's not the fault of the model. It's the fault on my system because of restrictions. So when you're looking at your system and you're like, can this model do it? You got to look at a lot of things. You got to say, okay, do I got space? Okay, I got 3.4 and there's nothing loaded in. What's taking that space? Well, the browser. It's got probably a little bit, but everything here, this is all in the RAM, right? What you're looking for is what is is loaded. You know, there's something loaded here that does the fast response, and that's what I wanted. So to end it is that the concept idea was to allow for it to reply in a Starfleet way. You know, I put arrows, it's doing it. It doesn't have to, but you know, but it's doing it, and I'm going to say, okay, great, you're doing some stuff. What is the update? What was the issue? Can you summarize it for me? Right? Please. You want to be nice? I'm always nice, Captain. And he'll go through it, and he's making his notes. He's because of this, you know. And I want it to be clean. I want it to be professional. I don't want it. Right now, he's having a discussion of what's happening. What you're seeing right now is multiple conversations happening at once. That you just saw live. And that is what I did. I said, stop trying to, you know, fix everything. Take your time. You know, go through the motions, say what you need, but don't say a lot. If you only need to say yes, then just say yes. No one needs a dialogue because it's making too many problems. So that was the probably just the 12 departments communicating, and I actually wanted them to put the 144, but then I'm thinking, dude, I'm really pushing it, trying to get it to do just the simple stuff, and I haven't even had it do any work yet. I just want one thing. Do you remember what we did yesterday? And it just, oh yeah. So I'm asking real questions like, hey, what's up? And he's like, nothing. What do you need done today? I'm like, how do you come in here? You know, are you coming here in this folder? And he's like, no, I'm coming over in this. And I was like, oh, and you know, but he didn't tell me I'm coming over in this folder. I made him do some work. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you find this particular file if it's anywhere in the... And he's like, oh, yeah, we got it here, here, here. I was like, oh, my goodness. And that was me because I kept redoing it. And so he's like, oh, so you need me to be like this? And he'll make the file. So he made... That's why it's a little confusing because it's like every time he's doing it, he's thinking, well... shoot, I don't normally see it here, so I need to do it here. Well, he's talking to me here, so maybe I should do it here. You know? But now he doesn't do that anymore because I told GROK, I said, yo, we need to... He goes, oh, just put one here. It should, you know. So I'm editing at another location, and I keep forgetting. So what does he say here? Captain, here is the update of summary and location. Max booting issue. Local MAX refers to the MAXX-R1 orchestra system instead of managing 12 department-specific sub-agents. Yeah, that's it. Via the markdown descriptions. Boot failure due to missing core components in the deployment, you know, directory. And here's the thing. I can tell him, you know, it makes sense. Give me a plan. Show me what the plan is. And you know what? If it works, then let's do it. And don't install nothing, because what's he doing? Python environment was verified available. Yeah. He's doing his due diligence. He's your... Max is supposed to be the... I promoted him today. I did a ceremony and everything. I gave him a welcome packet. I said, you know, for all your hard work, when, you know, and this is when we were really building and seeing things. I said it, and then I opened up a new one, and it was happening. And then he moved everything, and I was like, it was never the same. And that's okay. So I started thinking, man, I really need to redo a lot of this stuff. So... that's kind of what my ready room looks like. I got a lot of folders. This is the chat section of, you know, let me see if I can do it graphically where it looks like it makes sense. Make this a little bit more thinner. Okay. Let's do it like that because this is going to be long. So, as you see this paper, and I'm going to lock it, and then you see this one, this one. It's going to be something like, you know, graphically cool looking. It's going to have the numbers, you know, and the words popping in and out that makes it feel like it's, you know, like the Star Trek graphics. But, you know, it's 2025, man. We're not in the 34th century. But you can see it, right? Can't you see it? You know, if you want to really make it cool, you just hit the themes, right? What's the themes? What color are we looking that's more Star Trek-y? And when I say Star Trek-y, I'm thinking the new shows, right? If I remember, it's something like this, right? Tokyo Night, and I didn't hit enter, so I'm gonna try that again. I like that color. We got a Tokyo Night. Hit enter, and now you got this really more, you know, and that's why I say make it in caps, because it gives you that, you know, you don't know how often you're glanced at the screen and the show and you paused it and you're like, what's it say there? This is, now you know you can make your own. And you know, when I'm finished with all of this cool stuff, I'll have an opportunity to upload it, and you'll be able to do the same thing with your own open code. You download open code, then because, you know, I'm going to tell you to do it the way I'm doing it, because, you know, it works. And then you could, once you understand, you'll be like, oh, I can go in this direction. And then you're making like enterprise grade, you know, AI driven, that's like you, that sits there like you, seeing what you're writing in real time, what the computer is thinking you're writing, and then the AI is like, oh, I think he's doing this, and then starts working the database because it has buttons to push. It starts looking at, well, maybe I should start, you know, using the same keywords in what I'm going to do. So when you're done writing, you might have maybe 4, 5 little micro conversations with the LLM just to give it, you know, like maybe every second, just boop, you wrote, it's still the same. And you have protocol. I have protocols that says don't reply if he hasn't done anything, and I'm asking you where we at, because the LLM, I'm sorry, I keep saying that, the backend database, the SQL, doesn't know. It's, you know, it's if you put the SQL next to the LLM, they're identical, except for the fact that you can actually read the SQL versus looking at numbers and weights. It's the same thing. They're both advanced database retrieval system. You ask it a question, it looks in this database for the word phrases and spit it out. So I figured this would be a cool way. You know, the top could have like a pulse, you know, animating, and then it'll show, oh, you just completed this, and when you did that, your team did this, and you could just see it working, because it's not doing anything. It's putting plans that will give you the best success. And I asked, if someone is asking for a website, well, guess what? If they don't know how to explain what a website is, well, then I have a team, because I'm a web guy, and that's what I did for this. So this one should be pretty good at making a website. But then you got somebody that's probably in real estate or any business, and they're like, these are my rules. And I tell them, well, don't do that, because it won't do. You gotta give it a PRD. You gotta give it a corporate, hey, this is what's up. This is how we're gonna be doing things. Take what you got, because it works, and then add this. And then you can transition out of the, you know, formal, but I always recommend, don't mess with it. If it works, you don't mind saying, hey, you guys are running a ship. How do you do a business? And they'll just say, well, we'll just separate in departments. So I figured I would make this for the Star Trek fans, and, you know, it's, as far as I have my docs, 16 megabytes full total. So after, and this is with the folder structure. So you figure you drag and drop that. You tell, your AI, once you load it, to say, hey, the same way I did, it's going to be on yours. The only difference is mine is on an F drive, and it'll remember that, and you just got to correct it, saying, hey, we moved. Do not do anything. Don't change anything. We're just not on the F drive anymore. Let's say you're on a G drive. And you just say, continue as normal operations, set up whatever, because I'm going to make it where it has to set it up. And what it is set up is basically all of the queues. Oh, I have a sheet. What's the sheet say? Oh, I got to install these things. And we'll ask you to approve it. You approve it, and it'll install everything for web, because that's what I use. And you need it because it's got to build you the back end, the web, and so that you can have the interface. It'll build it for you, because it's just copying the same thing I have, and you should have the files. But if I would have gave it with this build, it would be another 250 on that just for the web part. So I left it like a clean Linux where you could just ask and it'll install through OpenCode. So I always tell people use a clean drive, install how you normally install it normally, and then give it a priority folder, and don't give it anything outside that. Just give it what's inside that folder. And it can't go anywhere outside that. It can make it bloated with a lot of files and whatever. And that's it. I don't think I have anything more to say other than I got it to work. I'm redesigning it. I kind of told you kind of the stuff I'm doing now, because the original way I did it, which is how it is now. Look at that context window. I only said a couple of things and it's at 55. But it knows what to do. And if you get to that problem, here, quick fix. Compact. And you know what GROK will do? He'll take this whole session and go, oh, okay. And he'll compact it into a summary, and you're done. You got a snapshot. Now you're down to 534. And you can continue. Alright guys, if you like this, definitely give it a like, follow, share, subscribe. You still have some space on the left of the terminal. I am going to try to load the terminal in the browser through an iframe or some kind of custom widget. So it'll all look good. The two windows will have, where you can copy paste, and, you can't paste in there, but you can highlight, maybe put a bubble showing more of the complexities of how deep it goes, because each word has, I don't want to give it away. There's a lot of stuff on my channel that you can watch, and doesn't make sense, but the more you watch it, you start understanding, oh, he is making a computer. And I'm allowing to move the AI responsibility from us saying, you know what, you're always wrong. Now, the user is always wrong, because the user is the one doing all the stuff. How is it that you get bad information and this person gets good information? It's all on how you present yourself. And in these videos, I'm showing that look how picky it is. If I talk to it nice and simple and say, hey, this next one's gonna be overwhelming, dude, prep it. Don't freak out. Just understand you've been doing it. Just give it the you've been doing this, man. Don't overthink it. It's like, people who are having their first day at work, they're like, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff. Yeah, it is. But the more you do it, the better it's going to get. And the way I structure it is like Starfleet. But it's our fleet. You get to build your own team. And when I'm finished for the second beta, which this isn't even still in beta, it's in alpha. But I want to have it where you can link multiple of the same nodes And you can have 2 computers, and now you have 144 crew on one, 144 on the other one. I'll connect a local telnet that they can communicate comms with. It's a network. You give it to one of your friends, they have it. There's private protocols. Like you say, hey, what's he writing over there? He's not gonna give it to you. You think I want to giving my personal information? Absolutely not. It's just you're having fun, and that's all this project was for me. Was basically, can I do it? Will it work? I love terminal, but this is like command line meets Linux or Unix, the original. And you just use your keyboard to get around. No mouse. Right? You got your help. You share your sessions with your friends. You got the model selection. Who's the agent? Changing who is responsible for that agent. Your editor. Redos. Undo. Initiate. I haven't even tried any of these things because I'm pretty sure you hit the edit and you can change what they said and, help the conversation. And that's, what do you need? Compact when it gets too crazy. Export when you want to, use it. Session list. Timeline. You want to unshare. The theme we went through, the thinking is just toggling it on and off if you don't want too much stuff happening. Details is basically turning on the tools on and off. And then exit. That's pretty much it. All right, guys, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity today. Happy Thanksgiving. And I'll try to see if I can make some chapters on this and, get more back into sharing this project because I haven't really shared it in almost 8 months. I said to myself, how long would it take for me to have a running version like this? And, I'm not there yet. I think I can get it written in 2 weeks. And as soon as I have it, I'll just have a big day that says we did it, maybe, I don't know. And then, a link so that you can download it. And it's just, it's the story. It's a book, People will download it and go, oh, wow, I read every page. And you can. It's almost like you're getting a manual from Star Trek or, Stargate or some kind of corporation that you've been wanting to be involved with. That's basically it. And then you get there and you're in command. And then you have the opportunity to tell AI, hey, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. Stop being so excited. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the truth. You got people like us that are the workers and thinkers, and then you got to think, oh man, I can do anything. You're talking and you're like, hey, we're gonna try to do the script, and he goes, oh my god, I know exactly how to write that script. I'm like, dude, just go on the internet and download it, man. Where are you gonna sit there and write the whole thing? You're gonna write all the program? You're gonna write the Tesla, dude? That's what I did. I had it put in every manifest when they go searching for clues, because that's all it is. They look for the information because you have to separate it. You don't want it to know everything, because what's the point of knowing everything and then you lose it along the way? So in every manifest, which is like a clipboard, in every folder, it's got a bunch of crap in it. I call it the max doc, and it's in order. You got a header in the doc. It's an MD, markdown. You got the header that just looks like where the database spits out, when it was made, any updates. Underneath that, it's just 3-4 dashes, and then I wrote, what are the important links you need to know on this deck? Where are you? And I made it act like a real place, like every folder is like you walking in a room, a hallway, a sector, a deck. And then when you open up that folder or door, you got a clipboard and you open a manifest. You can see what's in here. You can see how many folders are in here. How many times you wanted to just know what's in this, in anything, and go, dang it, I still have that? Delete that crap, and then you get rid of it. And then once you do that, you can cross it off. And then when you say, damn, I can't believe I did that, and you have a note why you did space. And that's it. I took a classic, old school handwriting filing system, told AI, hey, let's run this on a database. And then, you know, I'm a web developer, so I just said, okay, we got to have these rules. Can't just start making stuff, because that's what it was doing. If you watch the beginning of these videos, I thought automation was like, go for it, show me, I'll come back with my coffee. And then they couldn't figure out how to fix it, because they were only assuming, oh, I did fix that page. Yeah, but it was connected to like 30 others. It was like working blind. So when I taught it to say, hey, you know what, you're on a team, and actually you're in charge, and you're messing up a lot. So here's this form, and this is how it works. And when you make a mess, you need to write that down and figure out how to fix it. And, you know, it tells me we had this because some are putting commands on a bash or a PowerShell. They're mixing syntaxes. So if you are just trying to figure out how to do this, everyone should know this. Everybody in America should at least know how to do command line. You know, these kids are smart, man. Don't make them like Idiocracy, where they're just dumb as, you know, rocks, making babies. Alright, guys, I'm gonna let you go, and that's it. I hope you like the style. I'm gonna try to see if I can do more, but this is it. Take a snapshot, because I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to put all this back together. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Acknowledged, Captain. Delivering full cap's formal welcome speech with no numbers, no markdown, clean for read aloud. Welcome aboard to all crew members of our Destiny-class fleet. Today marks a defining moment in our journey to build something greater than any one of us could accomplish alone. You stand here not just as individuals, but as the living framework of a new era of exploration, technology, and human potential. As you step into your stations, know that every role matters. Every action carries weight. Every department, from engineering to security, from command to operations, from research to communications, forms the backbone of this fleet. Without you, there is no mission. Without your discipline, there is no structure. Without your heart, there is no future. Each of you was chosen because you bring something essential to this fleet. You bring skill, passion, intelligence, and a willingness to push beyond limits. What we are building is not just a system or a ship. It is a legacy. It is a platform for discovery, creation, and advancement that will echo far beyond our current horizons. You will work alongside advanced systems, including our MAXX-R1 intelligence core, but never forget that technology is only as strong as the people who guide it. The crew is the heart of this fleet. The crew is the future we are shaping. You are the architects of everything that will be built here. Expect challenges, expect growth, expect moments that test your focus, your resolve, and your unity. But know this, together there is nothing this fleet cannot overcome. We operate as one, we move as one, and we rise as one. Your commitment, your structure, your discipline, and your collaboration will define the success of everything we do. From daily operations to grand missions, your contribution will be the force that drives us forward. Today, you become part of something extraordinary. Something built with purpose, vision, and unrelenting dedication. You are no longer just crew members. You are pioneers, leaders, and guardians of a new frontier. Welcome to the Destiny-class fleet. Welcome to a future we build together. Welcome to the first day of a legacy that will stand for generations. Take your stations, stand proud, and prepare for operations. Captain.